Why is my husband so defensive, and how do I get him to open up? For a long time, our pattern was I would bring something up and Adam would start to shut down. He would start to defend, to resist, and it was so frustrating for me. Like every time I brought something up, I was anticipating this wall of defensiveness.
Like during that time, I think I felt like there was nothing I ever did was good enough and I couldn't win. So when you'd bring those things up, those tough conversations up, it did feel like an attack on my body and my nervous system. That's when the survival brain kicks in.
We broke this cycle and we no longer have a problem with defensiveness.
Yeah.
I don't want to attack you, and I'm sorry if that's how it felt, but that's not my intention.
She's being a little bit more open, a little bit more gentle in her approach, and it feels like maybe I could share honestly how I'm feeling underneath. And that started to open up more honest and open conversation from that place.
Why is my husband so defensive, and how do I get him to open up? That is the question. And that's what we're going to talk about today on the Save My Marriage podcast. I'm Aston Simmons and this is my husband, Adam Simmons. And we are going to talk about this because we have also experienced this. So a lot of people experience defensiveness in their marriage and in their relationship, and we did as well. So a lot of the time, for a long time, our pattern was I would bring something up and Adam would start to shut down. He would start to defend, to resist. And it was so frustrating for me. Like every time I brought something up, I was anticipating this wall of defensiveness. And if you're listening, I'm sure you can relate and you're not alone in this experience. And what I would do before I actually understood defensiveness is I would resist back. I would get furious back. I would get frustrated at his defense. And it just made the whole thing worse. It's like we were then both holding walls up. And it made it so hard to resolve anything, so hard to have a conversation because we were both closed. We weren't open. And I know for Adam, the defensiveness for him, it felt more like he was being attacked.
Yeah, definitely. During that time, I think I felt like there was nothing I ever did was good enough and I couldn't win. So when you'd bring those things up, those tough conversations up, it did feel like an attack on my body and my nervous system. And what's important, I guess, for everyone to understand is that the nervous system goes into shutdown or goes into survival is probably more of the correct term. And you're trying to protect yourself because it feels like a threat. It feels like you're under attack. You're not. You are safe, but into your body, it feels like you're under attack. So that's when the survival brain kicks in, and these survival responses of fight, flight, freeze, or fawn kick in, and it's really just our nervous system trying to keep us safe. Yeah. But in doing so, it actually keeps us disconnected. Yeah. It does the opposite of what it's actually. What we think it's doing. Yeah, and what we want it to do. Yeah. So how did we break this cycle? I'm sure everyone wants to know because we broke this cycle and we no longer have a problem with defensiveness. But we hear from couples all of the time. All the couples that come to our one-day retreat struggle with the defensiveness. Every couple we speak to in Save My Marriage School, they all struggle with defensiveness. I'm sure everyone listening is going, this is our biggest problem. And when there's defensiveness, it's very hard to have open communication. It's almost impossible. So you'll think you have a communication problem. You don't. You have a connection problem, and it's because there's defensiveness. So how we practically moved through this, I remember the exact moment that it happened. We were in a conversation. We were in the same cycle. I brought something up. Adam felt attacked. He didn't feel enough. His invisible walls came up, his invisible shields, and he started defending. My old pattern of wanting to fight or resist it or get frustrated, I noticed it and I was like, thank you, not helpful. So I'm just going to breathe and get back into my body, get out of my head, which is really unhelpful most of the time, get in my body. And I got curious. So I just got curious a moment about what could be underneath the defense. Why might he be defensive? That's where I started. I got curious and then asked the question, what might he be protecting? Because that's what defense is. And straight away, I just looked at you differently. I was like, I think he feels ashamed. I think there's a feeling of shame or fear or something he's avoiding feeling. And he's using the defense to not feel it. And so I just curiously said to you, hey, I see how hard you're trying. I see how hard this is for you.
what are you avoiding feeling right now by defending? And it kind of stopped you and you were like, oh, yeah, I am actually feeling something underneath. And then you shared how you were feeling.
Yeah. I can't remember the specific situation at the time, but probably.
I think it was shame. It's usually a mixture of shame, fear, like loss of love, like loss. It's usually a combination of those three. And I think you said something like that. I just remember that you felt a bit of like not enough.
Yeah, it was always that was the typical pattern. Not enough. I haven't done something right again. I'm not good enough again. And just that constant spiral.
Yeah, and I hear from some men as well, like, oh, I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm in trouble. I didn't do it right again.
Yeah.
And that's probably a childhood pattern. Like your pattern of defense started way before our relationship. And that's something to be aware of. But we were mirroring it. And the reason we do that in our relationships is to heal it, not to drive us crazy. We actually mirror those patterns to heal it. So when you shared that, I then had compassion. Like my heart opened to you and then you opened to me and we sat in the feeling. I didn't try to fix you. I didn't try to like tell you shouldn't feel that way or anything like that. I just said like, I understand. Like, I get it. I can see why you would feel like that. And I just validated that you would feel that way. And then once you'd felt it, I just reassured you that like, I'm on your team. Like, I love you. And I want to have an open conversation. I don't want to attack you. And I'm sorry if that's how it felt, but that's not my intention. And then there was just this opening, this softness, this vulnerability that we could both like kind of exhale.
Yeah, some more safety that I felt like I could then actually, okay, well, maybe she's not trying to attack me. Maybe I can actually share how I'm feeling. She's being a little bit more open, a little bit more gentle in her approach. And it feels like maybe I could share honestly how I'm feeling underneath. And that started to open up more honest and open conversation from that place.
Yeah. And what I realized through that is I was acting like your defense meant you didn't care. And I hear this from so many people. They get defensive. They don't care. They're just resisting it. And I realized in that moment, that's not true. If your partner is being defensive, it's actually a sign that they care so much. They almost care like too much that they're overthinking and they're not even being themselves because they're trying so hard to get it right.
Yeah.
But in trying so hard to get it right, and there is no right or wrong, we often end up not speaking our truth, not feeling what we're feeling, and then we're not real, we're not honest, which means we're not open. And no wonder the conversation feels clunky and hard and like we can't get a resolution because we can't get to the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think something I had to learn during this time is that I had to first bring awareness to the nervous system and what was going on in my body and notice how those sensations were a signal from my body that it was going into these states of survival.
Yeah.
And we can break that. You can learn how to break that. And a simple way is just a very deep breath with a very long, slow exhale, probably the simplest way possible. And just repeating that until you start to come back into your body.
Yeah.
And you don't feel that need to defend.
Yeah. And
you can just sit there and be with the uncomfortable feelings in yourself. And from that place, that's what really opens up the possibility of getting back in your heart and that deeper connection that you really want is first being with those uncomfortable feelings and
not making them wrong in yourself or in each other.
Yeah.
And what was interesting is once that moment happened, you then had more awareness of when you were being defensive.
Yeah.
So then the next time it came up, I remember you actually took a breath, like you just shared how to do that. And then you were like, I'm noticing I'm feeling defensive right now. And I was like, oh, okay, great. Like, good. Like, let's bring awareness to the pattern before it happens.
Yeah.
Realize it's not you, it's not me, it's just a pattern.
Yeah.
Like, separate yourself from the pattern.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh, okay, great. Let's just sit with, there's some defensiveness here. And then I was like, what do you need from me to feel safe so that we can have the conversation? And you were like, I think I just need to work out what I'm feeling. So you asked yourself, what am I feeling underneath the defense? Whatever you were feeling, you felt.
Yeah.
And I just allowed you to feel it. And then you were like, okay, I think what I need from you is, and it's usually something like, can we take a 5-minute space for me to feel my feelings before we have the conversation?
Yeah.
Or can we have this conversation in a setting where I feel like I can hear you, like not in the kitchen with like the range hood going. I call it like land the plane. That thing can be so loud.
Yeah.
You know, not like hearing the kids playing or watching TV at the same time. Like that can really trigger Adam into defense, all those different sounds.
Just too much sensory stuff going on.
Yeah. So it might be like I need to have this conversation in a quiet space where I can focus and be present. You know, it could be that simple. It could be that I need to just go collect my thoughts or feelings before we continue the conversation. And that is so kind. It's so kind to just communicate what you need to be able to have the conversation in a constructive, like helpful, loving way. And then that became just our new normal, that if you were getting defensive, you would just share, wow, I noticed that I'm feeling defensive around this. And we would be like, okay, we wouldn't avoid it or make it wrong. We would meet it. And that's the invitation that we want to share with you. You know, if you or your partner are defensive, we want to kind of change the way you think about it and to see if you can welcome the defensiveness, you know, stop making it wrong and get curious about what could be underneath it. And to meet it in yourself and to meet it in each other. And it's as simple as like exactly what we did, asking that question, getting curious. I'm really curious. I want to understand, what are you feeling underneath your defense? And you have to be like authentic about this. Like you can't, it's not a strategy that you pretend to do. You've got to be real about it. And your partner needs to feel that. And you'll notice when it happens because you'll feel the opening. So that's the invitation to really, you know, feel into it and don't avoid it. And get curious about it and realize that defense is actually a sign that they care so much. And it's usually that there's a fear of failure, a fear of not being good enough. And if we can just have some compassion for that, because I'm also a human being and I have that part of me too. Like I know what it's like to feel like a failure. I know what it's like to feel like I'm not doing good enough. And what I need is more compassion. What you need is more compassion, not judgment. So that's the invitation. And it's a beautiful thing. Like now I'm like okay with the fact that you have a defensive pattern. It hardly ever shows up now. But if it does, I'm not, you know, angry at it. I'm not frustrated at it.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's such a beautiful opportunity. Like all the things that show up that are uncomfortable in relationships, they're just a beautiful opportunity to deepen the connection with your partner. You know, it's really just an invitation to look at these things, and if we can open by using the things that we've spoken about, by pausing, by taking a deep breath, by creating a space where it's a little bit easier to have these conversations and not doing it whilst you're in the middle of cooking and dinner and kids and trying to do other things, because it doesn't work very well, especially for men when we're singular focused. Creating a space where you can sit down and have the more vulnerable conversations, it opens up so much more. There's so much more connection and love and possibility from that place. And you can break the pattern. It's just it's a practice. You've got to do it ongoing. It's not just a one conversation thing that it's solved. These are breaking patterns in your nervous system, which maybe have been there since you were a child. So approach it with love, approach it with compassion. If you're the one who is defensive, have compassion for yourself. I had to be very loving towards myself and recognize that I wasn't broken. There was nothing wrong with me. This is just both a learned behavior, but also a trauma response. And I just need to love myself through it and practice a different way of taking care of myself.
Yeah, definitely.
So that I could open to the conversation. But it's life-changing.
If you want help with communication, we'll put our 5-minute coffee check-in link below, because a lot of people, once you start to move through defensiveness, you can have better communication and conversation. So we have a framework for that 5-minute coffee check-in, which also helps partners or couples who are defensive, because part of that defense is they need to know how long the conversation is going to go for.
Yeah, there's usually one partner who wants to talk all night.
Yeah.
And that pattern of wanting to talk all day and night, for the person who's more defensive and wants to shut down and talk less, it's just reinforcing the unsafe pattern in their nervous system.
Yeah.
And to break out of that, our 5-minute coffee check-in is really powerful because it's timed.
Yeah.
You're going to have 5 minutes each, and you're going to be very precise with the questions you ask. It's a safe place. You know exactly what's going to be discussed, and it starts to build more of that safety, but for both of you, and gives you a clear framework. So if you want a copy of that, we'll leave the link down in the show notes or the description. And if you've loved this, again, we'd love you to subscribe. This really helps the show get out to more people who really need this, need help in their relationships. So if you could do that, we'd really appreciate it. And we'll see you on the next episode.